Hey Bars gang, welcome back to another episode of Dropping Bars, and I have another special guest with me today in the person of Miss Orisha Joseph. Now she comes highly recommended because one of my previous guests, Miss Odette Campbell, after we did her interview, you may remember her from about 2 episodes ago, she sent me a message and she goes, "You have to get this person on." And I'm like, you know what? Say less. And she's on today. And she will be dropping some major bars with us. So, Orisha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kimron, for having me. I'm very pleased, and I was happy to be recommended. And you are having a really great show, and I think we should continue to highlight people in our community and in our space that just continue to do great work, including yourself. Kudos to you, actually. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're gonna jump right in, and the first thing I have for you is, tell me, who is Orisha Joseph, and what do you do?
Certainly. So I'm Orisha Joseph. I think you'll appreciate I'm the only Orisha, I believe, in Grenada. So I really love and enjoy my name. It represents the goddess of our African heritage, like the Ogun and the Oshuns and the Oya. So I really love my name. So I'm Orisha. So who am I? So I'm the daughter of Miss Emma Joseph, who is a domestic worker, but I've been one of my greatest cheerleaders in life. I'm the second daughter of my mom's children. Also, my father, who was a fisherman, he's no more, but he's also one of the heroes in my life. I'm also a friend. I'm also an executive director for an organization called Sustainable Grenadines. And that organization works between Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, focusing more on sustainable livelihoods, the environment. And so we span work from Carrick all the way to Beckway. What else do I like? I like anything that has to do with nature. I love things like hiking and hashing and going out there. I love to dive. I love to do birding, just go looking at birds.
Okay.
And then sometimes I just like to just chill. I'm more of a chill person, but I like the extreme outdoors. So you'll get me, jumping off a plane.
Right. So you're one of those outdoor nature lover.
Yeah, I'm a nature lover, really hard. So that's really who I am. I used to work at Icon Distributors. Everyone will know it as singer. Then I moved from there and I worked in media for about 5-6 years at Grenada Broadcasting Network. And then after I left Grenada Broadcasting Network, I started my journey with Sustainable Grenadines, where I'm presently now as the director. And my background is I have an MBA focusing on entrepreneurship and, other trainings and stuff in terms of policy law, the environment and things like that. Okay.
So what I'm hearing is that you are multifaceted.
Yes, you could say that, definitely.
Yes, awesome. Well, I'm so happy to have you. And so you work with. You said you're currently working in the Grenadines. You said, right?
In the Grenadines, yes. So our main focus of work is the Grenadine Islands that borders that is between Grenada and St. Vincent.
Okay, great. And tell me something. I know you just told us of your journey. You worked at Icon Distributors, singer. Then you worked in media, GBN for a bit, and then you moved on. Mm-hmm. How, to me, those are like 3 different kind of, what you want to call it, areas, industries, focus. So
listen.
So how did you get, what was that transition like to get to where you are today from, singer to media to director of a nature, you refer to that nature consultancy?
No, Sustainable Grenadines, which is a
Sustainable Grenadines.
Yeah.
So it's an NGO.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you get there?
So, straight out of TAMCC, TM Community College, I got to work at Singer. Normal application. So I got to work at Icon Distributors. I spent 5 years there. I used to do accounts receivable, cashing, work in a warehouse, and so forth. Then a lovely lady by the name of Odette Campbell came to work at Singer. And I assumed she saw something in me at the time when I was shy and maybe on a show, as a young lady, you just finished school 19, 20 years, is starting to work. And while she was working with us, she was like, hey, GBN have an opening to do character graphics. Those are the people who put up the name and the titles of whatever is happening. So while I was at Singer, on the evenings, I would go and work in GBN. Well, apparently, I did a good job, it seems. And then eventually I was asked if I would like to work in GBN full time. So I used to work on weekends, in the evening. So my whole 24/7 was once I finished Singer, then I go to GBN to work. So apparently I did a fair enough good job. Mrs. Odette Campbell is a hard one to please because she's very competent and straight. So I started to work in GBN, and then I came on as a full-time staff, as a junior reporter. And then I started to anchor the news on the weekend, and I started to produce what we call the year in review. So again, over the years. And then one day, usually in the news, people like the political stories or somebody died or accident, in River Road. I really enjoy the human interest story, those story that tells those social aspects. So then one day that we got an email, or I think Odette or somebody came to the office, and they said, the Tobago Cays Marine Park is inviting journalists in Grenada and so forth and other parts of the Caribbean to report on marine protected areas. Remember, I told you my father is a fisher, so I grew up around, marine environment, things like that. So nobody wanted to go. So I was like, I'll go. I'll go to the Tobago Cays Marine Park, and I have a report on the story, because those stories aren't that sexy, I guess. So, and I didn't know where or what the Tobago Cays Marine Park was. I actually thought it was in Tobago, Trinidad. But the Tobago Cays Marine Park is one of the longest and most influential parks that is located not too far from Union Island in St. Vincent. And a fun fact is that Pirates of the Caribbean did their filming at the Tobago Cays Marine Park, so it's world famous. Oh, exactly. Nice. So we went up there, me and a couple of journalists from Grenada. I remember George Grant and Nicole Bess and some others at MTV. And while we visited the park, they wanted to let us know, well, marine parks are very important because they're like a nursery where fish and lobster and conch and other marine species will have a place where they are protected until they are big enough or become adult to go into the wider ocean where you can fish, right? So I was like, wow, this is interesting. While I was there, the director then at Sustainable Grenadines, I was speaking to him and I was like, wow, this is so interesting. If you want to cover any other stories, let me know and I'll be willing once I speak to my boss to cover stories. Okay. So came back to Grenada, did the story, things like that. So when Sustainable Grenadines Inc. or Susgren started to have workshops in Carriacou and Beckway and on Union, Susgren would invite me and Odette would be sure. So to make a long story short, eventually one day Susgren wanted a program officer. And the director and one of the board members reached out to me and they were like, oh, we have all these people. They have all these qualifications. But I think what they saw in me was passion and commitment. So I was like, well, okay, maybe I should apply for this. I told her that she was not happy. She was not happy with me. She didn't want me. So anyway, I applied for it. I got through with the job. And 10 years later, now I'm the director of Sustainable Grenadines in a whole new field of the environment. Wow. But how all these three seem to be different and work. Singer taught me logistics and taught me customer service and taught me how to work and deal with people, because you're dealing with a lot of people every day with their accounts and who may not be happy because you might possess something from them or whatever. But then also GBN gave me the skill of communication, how to talk to people and to use my communication and doing small videos so I could help the organization know that I'm in. And then Suzerain, well, from there is history. Is that kind of long?
That's amazing.
Yes.
No, but it's great because it really shows that, you know, how one really led to the other. It's like I can see the transition and the journey. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I imagine that there were some obstacles that you faced along the way on that journey. Like what obstacles did you face and how did you overcome them?
I mean, one, people not believing in you. You did not come in with the qualifications. You have to pay your dues. Again, I'm not from St. Vincent or Union Island, so I had to ensure that people trust me. You know, why are you here? Why are you doing things that maybe somebody else could do? So the major ones is obviously people not thinking that you're capable. People think that, well, you're not worthy maybe of being in a particular position, and also building trust. And those are very serious things when you go through your life, you have to think about, especially being in a new space, a whole new culture. Again, I came from a mainland. And let me tell you something. I always tell mainlanders, the Grenadines is a completely different space. When we enjoy taking long baths in the Grenadines, we are so happy for the rain because everyone has water tanks or water cisterns. So I had to adapt. I have to adapt to the prices. Right. Things here in the Grenadines are extremely expensive. But I understand why, because everything you have to import. So when you could get in your car and run down to Hubbard's or Ramdani or wherever to pick up something or to just go here to get your car fixed, if I need to get my car fixed really good, I have to put it on a boat and send it to mainland St. Vincent. If I have to get certain things, I have to get it from mainland St. Vincent or mainland Grenada or Carriacou, which involves taking a boat. When things come, it's Friday, Thursday, whenever the boat come, you have to go out there. So a lot of challenges, like, you know, I'm not accustomed, like like what? So, you know, a lot of these things, but it's really, at the end, you learn that this is how people like go about their life, and this is normal to them. You know, when you jump on a bus to go to school, they go on a boat. And we saw the weather we have been having in Grenada and the Eastern Caribbean. So those are some obstacles, you know, the culture shock, you know, proving yourself to people that you're worthy to be there and that you're competent enough to do the work, you know, among other things.
Looking at that and some of those obstacles, and I mean, you overcome them because you're still there. 10 years later, you're doing great. So what would you say are, let's say, 3 lessons that you learned along the way that actually keep you grounded and has been propelling you into the level of success that you've been having?
Certainly, and I actually wrote them down because they hold dear to me. And the first thing is know what you are capable of, right? You have to know what you're capable of in order to reach to the other level. And the second thing for me is don't take things too personal. You know, in life, sometimes we take things personal, and sometimes what we think is personal is just projection. So don't take things too personal. Not everyone is against you. And the other important thing I learned is be willing to learn, but also while you learn, take those lessons and improve. So you have to be willing to learn and improve. You can't stay in the same place as you were before. So those are my 3 lessons.
Yes, and this is golden, especially the second one, not taking things personal, because I've noticed, even in my experience, sometimes somebody do or say something, and I'm like, wow, like, you know, and I start taking it personal, and I'm offended. I'm like, what's happening here? Only to realize that person wasn't even thinking about me in the first place. Exactly. It's like, I'm walking around here taking offense when nobody's actually giving me the offense. I'm actually taking it. Because nobody gives you offense. You just take it.
Exactly.
All right. So, and And that's one of the 4 agreements. I'm not sure if you read the book,
one of
the 4 agreements.
Yes, and those are one of the
exactly. I would recommend everybody watching this. Yes, I would recommend everybody watching this to read the book, the 4 agreements. It's very short, and one of the agreements says don't take things personal.
Don't take things personal.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So Orisha, this is a very short show, so we don't go on and on for like hours. So as we're about to wrap up, thank you so much for sharing your story and for sharing your nugget of all the lessons that you learned along the way. But before we wrap up, if there is one nugget of wisdom that you can leave with us, that you can share with young people across the Caribbean region, what will that one nugget of wisdom be? If you had a chance to speak with young Orisha at 12 years old, what would you say to her?
Be careful who you seek and get validation from. That will be my nugget. Be very careful who you seek and get validation from. Those are the people that break you or make you.
Wow. You know what? I don't even want to say anything else. This is so perfect. This is great. Like,
we have to be careful.
Wow. Yes. Now, Orisha, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming and share your story with us and for dropping those nuggets of wisdom. And thank you for dropping bars. And everyone, thank you again for tuning in to another week of Dropping Bars. Thank you, Orisha. And I shall see you all next week for another episode when I will have another special guest with me. So thank you, everyone, for being here. And Orisha, again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us.